Welcome to 8 Cubes. I'm KMBest. He's Lambie Series, and this is our high voltage special. Everything we know, everything we want you to know about high voltage. Marvel Snap's newest game mode, which of course features only 3 turns, no snapping and retreating, an arbitrary amount of energy gained between 2 and 5, drawing 2 cards per turn, starting with only 2 cards in your hand, and generally has been received very well by the community. Lambie, what do you think about high voltage big picture?
Well, what do I think about this mode? I feel like this mode single-handedly revitalized my full interest in Marvel Snap because I feel like, okay, like you said, right, this mode is super well received by the general public for a variety of reasons, which we will go through later as well. But in general, so what high voltage is basically you get to play decks and combos and cards that you probably never play outside of this mode. Also there is there is retreating, but no one really does it because there's no you don't lose anything. You don't lose anything anyway, right? So this mode is super fast paced and it's super exciting because you just get to play so many different cards, right? And then I feel like the rewards are also kind of decent. You know, you get a card as well. Like this mode in general, I feel like it's I've never seen like a thing that Marvel Snap introduced for a short period of time that like 0 people have complained about yet. And I feel like currently I think there's like 0 people that I've seen that have actually complained about this mode. So this seems like a very big W of a mode, like in the grand scheme of things anyway.
Yeah, I can't think. I mean, and granted, there's not a lot of precedent for them doing stuff that
Yeah.
people like that are these similar to modes, right? But like, I do think that this one has been the biggest hit of any of them for a variety of reasons. Personally, the number one thing that strikes me as a reason why this one is a hit is there's no punishment for losing. And there is
Hmm.
a probably like 80% of the Marvel Snap player base. They love just being able to do stuff and not having to stress about rank, right? You know me, I'm a sicko, you're a sicko. We
Yeah.
stakes matter for us, right? That's
Yeah.
what gives us the thrill. But for most people, they just play this game to see pretty things happen, to like watch their combos go off, to do their cool stuff, and 2 ships passing in the night. And this is the 2 ships passing in the night game mode. It's not a game mode that has competitive integrity or really anything like that. It's just about doing your stuff. And that is so cool because there is no punishment for it. The other thing I think people really like about this game mode is it is incredibly easy for you to get all the rewards on the track just by doing all of your missions. You log in every 8 hours, you do your missions, you're done. You will get about 20,000 volts just from doing the missions. The track ends at 11,000. You don't even have to do this all the time, just enough of the time. Log on, do your missions, call it a day. You will get Agony, you will get the Iron Man variant. I'm not going to say they overcorrected from the diner, but I will say that it does feel like this is a much less stressful experience than the diner was. And some of that is Agony is less of a card you actually need than Cassandra Nova, who was the answer to the meta at the time. But I am impressed overall with how low stress this game mode is.
Yeah, I just want to add one thing, which is like, I think you hit the nail on the head as well. It's like this mode is like literal no stress, right? It's like the 100% fun mode. Like it's the
Mm-hmm.
100% just have fun mode. So like as a card game player myself, I enjoyed Diner also. Obviously, I enjoyed Deadpool's Diner for a different reason, right? Because it feels a bit more poker-ish.
Yeah.
I enjoyed like classic normal Marvel Snap because well, there's a snap mechanic and there's more stakes as well. But I also really enjoy this one because like this is the first mode in Marvel Snap that's like complete chill. Like it's complete chill, and I feel like you said 80% of the population is also complete chill, so they're not all sickos like us. So I guess
Yeah.
this mode is that's the reason why this mode is definitely a hit.
But I'll tell you, I actually feel like sometimes even someone like me is just like, you know what I want to do? I'm just going to go do my quests in high voltage. I'm just going to go have
Right?
some fun. I'm just going to go watch fireworks go off. And that's what this feels like. Like, it's not an auto battler, but it's closer to an auto battler than anything we've gotten before, where it's just like, you did your deck building, cards are showing up, you're putting them wherever. There's not a ton of strategy in that. It's just cards going places. And that's the mode. And so you have this like I bet you could probably play Agatha in this mode. I haven't, but I bet you
Yeah,
could.
sure.
And it's like there's just some cool stuff happening, some enjoyable stuff happening. People are mostly just taking a similar tack. And the other thing that's really cool about this mode is a bunch of cards that otherwise are total ass are very, very good in high voltage. So let's talk about the high voltage all stars. To me, there's 4 cards that are normally total crap that really stand out as high voltage all star: Ebony Maw, Havoc, Baron Zemo, and Morph. Do you have anything you want to add to that list? Because those are like, that's my Mount Rushmore of like high voltage all stars that are normally turbo ass.
Okay, I mean, you call it your Mount Rushmore of like total ass cards that are good in this game, in
Mhm.
this mode, right? To me, I just really want to highlight like one
Okay.
particular one, which is Ebony Maw. Like, okay, so there are so many good one drops in the game, including new ones that were recently released, right? Like Silver Sable and stuff like that, Arania and all that kind of thing. But like this one, Ebony Maw is like never played. Like outside of back then when it was what was it? Like Electro Sandman stuff, like maybe literally a year ago. Ebony Maw is like never played, right? Ebony Maw in this game has zero downside. This is the first time that the downside of Ebony Maw doesn't exist. The card is literally 1 mana 7 power with no text. Like that's because the mode ends in 3 turns, right? The Havoc one is kind of interesting. I guess I want to talk a bit about that as well, is because like very often, even if like on turn 3 in this mode, sometimes you have like 12 energy. You never really need 12 energy, you know. So if you got a Havoc on like the on the first turn, it's just like 12 power, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's 12 power, and then like you get stuck with maybe like what, sometimes 9 energy on the final turn. You don't really care, right? Because it's still 12 power from turn 1. Oh, there's one more. I think you didn't highlight this, but it's kind of interesting. This one's not so much of like an all-star. It's more like it is insane as a turn 1 play in this mode, which is Storm, right? Storm
Ooh.
on turn 1 is okay, people talk about Storm, War Machine, Legion. In this game, if you have Storm on turn 1 and you actually just happen to draw like all the cards that like let's say you have 6 mana on turn 1, you get to play like Storm plus a 4 mana card, you're just like ahead, right? And
Yeah.
like you just stack 4 cards in that location on turn 2 and it's done because your opponent cannot interact with it on turn 3. So it's kind of interesting. I feel like Storm is like super MVP in this mode as well. Maybe less so than like the others because the others literally don't see any play at all outside of this mode. But yeah, just want to give Storm a bit of a shout out as well.
Along those lines, Professor X is another card that is
Yes.
worth talking about, where it's just like these cards that simplify the game into just, oh, you already won this lane, spend your entire 12 energy turn 3 winning another lane, right? Like that's the dynamic that they're really trying to get across. Leader is another card that's kind of similar to that, where
Mm.
you have like a bunch of really interesting stuff that can happen that is just very much about doing something messed up. I think the number one card that people hate in this format is probably Eliath, if I had to guess.
Yep.
That's probably the card that people are most angry at, but I think that, it's fair to discuss it as an all-star as well. And finally, I've just gotten a lot of value out of Scar. Like, I've just been playing a bunch of Scar
Mm.
decks, right? Like, you can play, like, if you get up to 5 energy on turn 1, you can just, like, play an arrow and then play a dude on turn 2 that has 10 power, and then suddenly he costs 2. But even getting him to 4, if you have 10 energy on the final turn of the game, you'll be able to play a 6 drop and a Scar at 4. That's like a pretty useful thing as well. So a lot of my decks are playing this group of cards. I do want to go back and talk about the two that we haven't talked about so far that I mentioned at the outset. We talked about Ebony Maw, talked about Havoc. We haven't talked about Morph and Baron Zemo, and both of those have fairly similar theories behind them. You play Morph because every card your opponent plays in this mode is just like some
It's big.
big monster, right? Just all the time. I had someone Baron Zemo me and get my Eliath. Like
Yo.
that's what Baron Zemo and Morph are doing, right? Like these cards are here basically to just be like, hey, check it out. You have 9 energy on the final turn, play a 6 drop in one of these guys, it's 2 6 drops. What's up?
Also, I was trying to figure out where I want to fit this in, but I guess
Hmm,
now it's a perfect time as
sure.
well, which is the amount of people that literally play super big Black Panther into the most telegraphed Zola in the world is insane. Like, because I saw that for like the first half an hour of my play session, right? I
Mhm.
just put Cosmo in every single deck that I play. Okay, along with the Alioth that's already there. Like, it's so telegraphed because people don't care, right? Because even
Yeah.
if you lose, there's no downside. People just want to see like they go like symbiote Spider-Man, they go Black Panther, and then the Zola is coming, and then you just you just Cosmo the location. So like
Yup.
I was playing a deck with like Cosmo and Shang-Chi, obviously, because every card is big, right? Cosmo, Shang-Chi, the obvious Alioth, and then like it's kind of interesting because people just don't care. They just play into it regardless because that's the combo. Whether you have the outs or not, no one cares, right? Because there's no stakes. So it's kind of interesting that if this were like actual Marvel Snap games on
Oh
like ladder,
yeah.
you would be winning like you would be winning like 10-8 cubes in a row to people that don't like realize that there's a Cosmo coming and something like that. So it's kind of interesting.
We were originally setting up this section to talk about what it is that we thought made this mode so
Mm.
exciting, but we kind of covered that in the first section. So what I want to do is pass this off to Lambie so he can tell us what he's been enjoying in the mode.
Yeah, so specifically this mode, because we talked about it in the first section, whereby I feel like the mode in general is very
Mhm.
enjoyable to people because it's very casual and like people just want to see like big combos and stuff like that, right? I feel for me personally, this is very interesting because it's a breath of fresh air for me. Like everything I've done with card games has been like relatively try-hardy, right? Like my entire brand is like along the lines of like getting good at the game.
Yeah,
I feel like in
former
this
Hearthstone
mode,
Grandmaster. Like that's
yeah. Yeah, I mean, but like this mode when I played it for the first time, I felt like I actually enjoyed just looking at my cards. Like it's a weird thing to say, but I enjoyed just like looking at the number on the left side of the screen. Okay, that's 10, right? Let's spend 10 mana worth of stuff. And then I think I'm bigger than you. If I'm not bigger than you, I don't even have to retreat. Like literally going to click the forfeit button is wasting more time than just ending the turn. So like I feel like this mode to me personally is the mode that I can safely say I can split screen and do two things at the same time and
yes.
enjoy the game as well. Like with Marvel Snap Ladder, like if you're really competing, like when I used to do it at like the top 10 of ladder, right? You cannot like not look at what's happening because like every single little detail matters. But for this mode, right, you can literally just like do two things at the same time and completely multitask and enjoy doing whatever thing you are doing on the side and the Marvel Snap, you know. So I feel like this mode to me is like it's a breath of fresh air and also something I feel like I needed. Like I needed Marvel Snap to be like maximum chill for me. And I guess for like certain try-hard players out there as well, like this mode probably gives you that maximum chill that you might be looking for, like just to enjoy Marvel Snap like for what it is and not like to try too hard, you know.
Absolutely. Now, what I was really trying to get at though is you've been playing a lot of Arishem, and I am like 90% sure he's not good in the mode. And I'll tell you why.
Okay,
You're
okay.
getting one extra energy, but that's such a lower percentage increase than it is on ladder, right? In a normal game of Marvel Snap, you have 2 energy on turn 1, that's twice as much as me. You have 3 energy on turn 2, that's 1.5 as much as me. In this, it's like, you have maybe 25% more energy than me on turn 1 and like 12% more energy than me on turn 2. And it's like what is it that actually makes that a trade-off you're willing to make?
Okay, so this is very simple. Like I've been like building up to this moment for like
Mhm.
the entire topic. And so the reason why I'm playing Arishem in this mode, right? Like the real completely honest reason is I just like Arishem. It's not good. That's the reason. No, because you laid out the points, right? And I have zero argument against them. Every single thing you said is correct. It's Arishem is just strictly worse in this mode because the energy you get from Arishem
Yeah, the relative
100%
gain is
matters.
lower, yeah.
Yeah, it 100% matters less. But like you've been building up to this point, so I feel like going out with a bang here is kind of
Sure.
interesting. Which is, I just want to say that I just like playing Arishem. I feel like people know like now that I really like this kind of random generation stuff, right? And like I guess this mode, like me playing Arishem and me playing this mode, really just feels like this is just the embodiment of the maximum chill. Like I would never do this on ladder. I would never play a completely suboptimal deck on ladder, you know, because I feel like on ladder I have this natural tendency to want to win games. That's why I play Agent Venom, right? But like I think I've seen like a grand total of like 0 Agent Venom in like a few hours of play in the in
Yeah,
this in this mode, which is the funny thing is Agent Venom low key is actually not good enough in this
it's
mode.
okay, but you can do better.
Yeah, exactly.
Specifically, one of the things I really like about this game mode compared to everything else they've done game mode wise is that it takes what is the selling point of Marvel Snap and it really invests in it. And to me, the selling point of Marvel Snap is a combination of the word simplicity and speed. However, you want to interpret that, that's what this is about. And I think that when you look at something like Conquest or Deadpool's Diner and you look at the difference between the reception here, it's not just that this is an easier game mode to play. It's also that it is intuitively more of Marvel Snap. Whereas the other modes were Marvel Snap trying to be something else, this mode is trying to take Marvel Snap and supercharge it. And I think that's a really like worthwhile lesson to learn because other game modes, Deadpool's Diner, Conquest, they're taking Marvel Snap and they're making it a different thing. It is an attempt to change what Marvel Snap is about. Now, I think you could argue Deadpool's Diner is taking an aspect of Snap, that being the snapping, and intensifying it in the same way. but that's not actually the selling point for the game the way the quick games and cool stuff is, right? Snapping is
Yeah.
cool and awesome, and card game players are like they're big fans of it. It's a cool mechanic, but it's not why you play this game. The other stuff is. And so this is doubling down on the things that work about Marvel Snap, and I'm really impressed with that.
Yeah, I think you mentioning Conquest is quite a important point here, which is like I feel like Conquest is literally okay, so it's the longest like running mode in Marvel
Yeah.
Snap, right? In the game right now. And I feel like there's a definite like cult group of Conquest enjoyers for sure. Like I am also a Conquest enjoyer,
Mhm.
but I do admit that like Conquest feels more like playing a traditional card game, like playing
Yes.
Hearthstone or Magic the Gathering, right? Like it's literally a grind, and I feel like Marvel Snap doesn't benefit from being a grind, you know. Like I
Yeah.
get there are enjoyers of that, like I do as well, by the way. But like I think in general, Marvel Snap is like you said, it's more of the kind of game whereby you literally take an elevator down from your office to lunch and you finish like a game, that kind of thing. So this mode is like even faster than that, right? Like before your food gets to your table, you finish one round of high voltage. So like it's that kind of game, and I feel like yeah, this high voltage mode really like magnifies this, and I feel like how should I put it? The thing is, because I guess we know that Marvel Snap is this style of game, like them making like events or modes that are in this like direction, like super fast paced one, feels like we don't hate it, you know. We just can't hate it as much as I'm a Conquest lover, I can't actually hate this mode because I know that this is like effectively what Marvel Snap is supposed to be, a fast paced game.
Yeah, it's I the Conquest stuff I think is instructive because Conquest is an attempt to fit Marvel Snap into the mold of other card games. And I'm not
Yes.
saying that's a fundamental mistake, but when you look at what Marvel Snap does well that distinguishes it from other card games, High Voltage is about that, right?
Yes.
High Voltage is about that thing. And I think that that is something that they should be commended on, like the designers of this. I believe the designer is Jules Robbins, who used to work at Wizards of the Coast, I believe.
Um,
I saw a tweet from Glenn to that effect. I am fairly certain of that. So, shout out to Jules. Great job.
Great job. Okay, so this topic is really interesting because what this topic is about is basically that reading is something that's very difficult for a lot of card gamers. I feel like if you
Mhm.
play card games for too long, you just like tend to just assume the card's effect is what you think it is, right? So in this same vein, the screenshot of the spoiler for High Voltage showed a a reward on the screen on the track. You know, there's a bar there, right? It showed
Yes.
a reward on the track that showed tokens, and it
Yes.
showed a 3,000 right
Yep.
below it, right? It showed 3,000. So uninformed and unable to read people like myself thought that I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one,
You're
guys. Please don't
definitely
leave me
not.
alone. I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one. People thought that we were gonna get 3,000 tokens from doing this rewards track, but on further inspection, and it's not even that much inspection, it's more like just open your eyes a little bit.
Mhm.
It's actually the voltage
Correct.
symbol for the mode. So yes, we are not getting 3,000 tokens. They did not scam us. They did remove the token reward, but let's be real. In that slot, it was how many credits, Cam?
250.
250.
Yeah, it was
Yeah, so
250.
so so what is 250 credits in terms of tokens? It's like what, 20 tokens? Like I don't
Can't
want
be
to.
good.
I don't think I want to receive 20 tokens, right? So I guess giving 3,000 tokens on the rewards track feels a bit too much. So I guess maybe
Really?
we were just being hopeful and coping. But like
Yeah.
I guess this topic is really the whole point of this topic is really just saying that like I hope I'm not alone when I thought that like it was gonna give me 3,000 tokens. That's
Yeah.
really just it.
The context behind this topic is it was originally going to be like Lambie proposed it as a topic about how they took 3,000 tokens off of the rewards. And I was like, dude, that was originally the context of this. I've seen this a lot. People who are like, they promised us X and they didn't deliver. But trust me, I don't think you wanted to receive whatever insulting amount of tokens was on there. Like,
Yeah, yeah. In the comments, let me know how much is. I think there is actually a conversion
I'm
of
sure
sorts. Like if
there
you
is.
convert gold to credits and then credits to tokens or whatever. How much is 250 credits in terms of tokens? Is it like 20?
I
I
feel
guess
like it's
about
like
there, right?
under 20. Like it's like less than 20, probably. Like we're looking at
Yeah.
like 10 tokens, maybe. That's sort of where my head is at here. And I
All right,
I, I
chat.
don't know
So
about you, but I
yeah.
don't want to get 10 tokens.
Yeah, definitely not. Okay, but guys, if you're wondering why, this topic in general is like in the, I mean, this whole video in general is like in the vein of like the fact that high voltage is a bit more lighthearted, right? So that's
Of
why some of
course.
the topics are definitely a little bit more lighthearted. But the next one, I think
Next one's
is
actually,
something that's,
yeah.
yeah, a little bit more like what 8 cubes normally is.
Okay, first of all, don't make excuses for having fun under any
Okay,
circumstances. Second
I'm
of
having a lot
all,
of fun. I am having a lot of
yes.
fun. Yes.
Second of all, we're going to talk about Agony, who is the reward, ostensibly, from High Voltage. And I am sort of struck by the continuum that is being ridden here, because Cassandra Nova from Deadpool's Diner was really, really
Insane.
strong. Very, very
Insane.
important to get. The counter to the meta. And I'm not sure they knew that would happen, but it is what it wound up being. And even if it wasn't that, Cassandra Nova, to me, feels like a demonstrably different type of card than not Ebony Maw. What am I talking?
Agony.
Agony. Because Agony, to me, when I look at that, I see Iron Elbow. I see like a card that they just wanted to make, and let's just like put a little time into this, make a card that's like Reverse Hulkbuster that we think should probably exist. Let's release it. Where Cassandra Nova, it's like, that is a Series 5 card. Like, that
Yep.
is a full powered Series 5 card who's really, really good, even in non RSM metas, right? And so we're
Mhm.
running this gamut, right? Like, what is their intended actual, where's the target actually supposed to be? Because I'd imagine it's somewhere between Agony and Cassandra Nova, leaning
Yeah.
towards the Agony side when they're giving away a free card. And I think that's good, honestly, because one of the things that's really striking me about this is, do you remember how stressed everyone was about Nova? Like,
Super.
goddamn, everyone was so mad about getting Cassandra Nova, and part of that was just like, this reward track is so much more easy to understand that you're actually making progress, and all of that matters. But like, everyone was so stressed about it. No one's stressed about Agony. I kind of think it might be better if they give us crap in these so people don't lose their mind. With all that said, I can't think of a deck I really want to play Agony in if I have every card in the game. I think she could be like a really useful, like, you can put her in Destroy. I think that probably makes
Yeah.
sense because you play her, then play the Deadpool, right? And that can happen at any time. And so that's kind of useful. Uh Other than that, I'm not sure she's doing a whole lot. I think she's like kind of cool, kind of useful. Can't see anything wrong with her, but mostly not a functional like game piece. Definitely just like the kind of thing that it's like, I'm glad that I have this in my collection in case something comes up, but not really sure what I'm doing with it right now.
Yeah, the in case something comes up thing is kind of interesting and important as well, because like this card is low effort to get, right? Like I feel like
Yes.
it's really low effort to get. So like you probably will end up getting it as long as you just play the game. And fun fact, this game mode is like, if you haven't figured out
It's
already, it's
fun.
super fast.
Yeah.
It's super fun and super fast. So you probably will end up getting it if you like enjoy the mode. So okay, I got a few things to talk about when it comes to this topic. So firstly, the Cassandra Nova one, like that you mentioned, I did actually feel a certain amount of stress to collect the card ASAP, because like I actually remembered I woke up like a bit earlier to make a stream just so that I could like get complete that portion to get a Cassandra Nova. So yeah, that was like unintended. I didn't think that was the intended like intention of the mode for sure.
Yeah.
But with Agony, I would say like it's less of a hassle, less of a fuss. But I mean, I guess let's talk a bit about the card itself, right?
Sure.
So after you play a card here, merge this with it, 1 mana, 2 power. So this one is like reverse Hulkbuster. What it does is it's like it gives you space, right? Like, which in a sense,
Yes.
like that's what Hulkbuster does as well, which is like you play a card here, you don't lose the power because it becomes one card. So like you have one more space, and then the card that you fuse with is just like a bit bigger, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think one insane problem here, or like one really big problem here, is like I'm assuming after you fuse, this card gets green power, and when it gets green
Yes.
power, it means that if you Shadow King it, you lose the whole card that fuses with this, right? In theory. So I feel like because with Shadow King being like a very ever-present meta force right now, I mean it's also really cheap, it's 2 cost, right? So like if this card literally makes Shadow King a better card. Like I'm not saying this card will ever be, I mean, it wouldn't be meta now, I don't think. But
No.
like, this card makes Shadow King even better if it becomes relevant, you know? Like, your card literally disappears after you fuse with it if it gets hit by the Shadow King. So, yeah, I am not too excited about this one. I like the art for what it's worth, but like,
It's
in terms of...
so dope. Yes.
Right? Yeah. But like, in terms of utility, is Reverse Hulkbuster better than Hulkbuster? I kind of think no, actually.
I think it's one of the things that I've been really sitting on recently is like the difference between 1 and 2 cost cards. Like you
Yes,
think it's very straightforward, but it's not
it's
because
not.
of the space to power ratio. Like, one of the things that's bad about one cost cards is that you're getting less out of them and they're taking up
Mhm.
space. And this card very explicitly is not taking up space on the board, but it is taking up space in the deck. And so there's this
Yeah.
cost that's associated with playing something that's low impact like this, not just in terms of the board, which this one avoids, but in terms of putting it in the deck when, for example, you're playing a Deadpool that scales multiplicatively. The bigger number you have on that Deadpool, the better it is, right? And so, what this card wants to be or where it wants to go, I don't know. But I wouldn't be shocked if, for example, because it's so easy to get, this is a card that people are playing at lower collection levels. And I think that is actually where this card kind of shines. I don't think there's a place for this card at endgame, but there's not a place for a lot of cards at endgame. But as you move through the collection track, getting a card like this could actually be really useful. Let's talk about Scorn, who just came out and goes in exactly one deck and makes that deck a little bit better. And yeah, that deck is discard. And I gotta tell you, I was more than impressed with this card. Like, this card's like kind of nice. It's just doing nice stuff. It's a backup Apocalypse, so you can actually start discarding stuff. But when you have Apocalypse, it's not redundant because you can
Yeah.
play it out. So it serves both as a backup and as an intensifying force. Really strong card, honestly. Like, it's a big boost to the archetype.
Yeah, I actually don't have much to add about this topic, but it's just like one point. I have like one point, but this one point is probably the most important point in this like topic anyway. Because I feel like every single new discard card they have printed is a banger. Like, do you remember Proxima Midnight? Proxima was such a banger, man. Like, I feel like this archetype is so specialized that like they kind of cannot print useless cards for this archetype, right? Because like it will just never ever see play ever, right? So like if they print discard cards, it has to be good because it's only gonna be good here, you know?
Yes.
Like Proxima is only good here, Scorn is only good here, Modok, okay, also other than that meme Hela deck, it's probably only good in this card. Swarm is only good in this card. It's like every single card that they print for this card has to be worth playing in this card because if not, where else are you gonna play it, right? So I feel like this might be the direction for discard in the future. Like if they ever print any like good discard, any like discard cards, it's gonna be definitely playable because if not, then it's just never gonna see play.
Yeah, I think the thing about it is the discard deck has such a unique existence that if you
Yes,
make a card for it, you are only allowed to make a couple of types of cards, right? Like, you can
correct.
only really do like second Apocalypse, second Proxima, right? Or a better enabler, right? Like, I have a pitch. They should make Hellcow 3/5. That's my pitch. If they're gonna make it only discard one card, they should make Hellcow 3/5.
Agree,
That's where I'm
agree,
at with it.
agree.
Like stuff like that. Like, there's only so many slots in the deck, and it's already so specialized that what it does is it's a point stack. It plays Modok on 5. That's what it does. So like, what can they actually do to make that deck better? They can give it more redundancy. They can give it card like here's an idea that might appeal to you. Like, okay, it's like a hand trap, but it works when you discard it. So
So
like,
like when it's discarded, blow
yeah,
something up.
yeah,
Oh, I
yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
I like that so much,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
Like it's not like Gambit, right? It's like when this card is discarded, destroy a random card on your opponent's side of the board or something like that. That
Probably
one is
that's
still
probably too
molding, by the way.
strong, but like,
Yeah, okay,
maybe
probably
like
too strong,
when
man.
this card is discarded, Red Guardian effect. Like,
Or minus power or something,
yeah,
right?
like just like a
Yeah.
little thing that like helps you get some stuff going there. I don't know. I like that's the kind of stuff that discard could have that they haven't
Yes.
explored, but everything else in discard is just like backup Apocalypse, backup discarder. You either have the
That's true.
payoff or the enabler. That's it. That's all we make. That's all we can do.
Yeah, that's such a good point, right? Like, so comment in the comments. I just want to know what you guys think as well, like what they can do with like future discard cards. Because like I mentioned, it's either your card is discarding something else, or your
Yep.
card gets discarded and gains power. Like, I feel like this is just the main theme of this card that
Yes.
hasn't changed in 2 years, right? So if they were to explore like new ways of making this card interesting, what do you guys think it could be?
Yeah. Let's make Max C, but it works when it gets discarded.
Okay, fun fact, Max C, guys, is a Yu-Gi-Oh card that is like when it's discarded, every time your opponent summons a thing, you draw an extra card. And in Yu-Gi-Oh, you can summon like 10 things in one turn, so you can draw 10 cards.
It's
That's just the
like this
context.
famously
Yeah.
broken card. Like, it is in
Famously
like
broken.
90% of Master Duel decks. It rocks. It's such a Yu-Gi-Oh is such a cool game.
Such a cool game indeed.
Much like Squidward says, sometimes you have to talk about the future. Lambie.
Oh my god, I know that.
Yeah,
I
I
know that
know.
reference.
That's why I named it that. Yeah. What do you have to say about what this game mode reflects in terms of their goals for future game modes?
Yeah, so we are gonna start sounding a bit like a broken record, right, at this point. But like I think I just want to re-emphasize again that like why this mode is such a hit and has like almost zero complaints, like to my knowledge, is that like it embodies what people enjoy about Marvel Snap the most, right? Like, I mean, okay, so if you want to enjoy like grindy, long ass card games, like there's always Hearthstone, there's MTG, there's many card games, right? But this style of card game, right? Like this style of like fast paced, like literally the advertisement for the game is fast paced card battler or something like that. But yeah, so like this game mode embodies why Marvel Snap was like, I guess, like made popular in the first place, you know, like other than the Marvel IP, it's also like a new way of playing card games. I feel like the Hearthstone style of card games have been around for 10 years, and like every other game after Hearthstone has been like Hearthstone 2.0. Like, let's be real, right? Every other card game after Hearthstone has been trying to ride on Hearthstone's success to make like a similar but better thing. But then what Marvel Snap has done is that they turned it into, I have 6 turns, I have limited things to do, every decision sort of matters, but I only have so little things to do, and it ends in 2 minutes. What high voltage does is it ends in 1 minute, I guess. It's really possible it could end in 30 seconds, by the way. But like, so I feel like this style of game mode fits the direction of like what this like new age card games are supposed to be like. Like I guess we don't want to go off on too much of a tangent, but like I feel like the upcoming Pokemon Pocket is also very similar. Like it's just super fast paced and like simplified versions of like complicated things that we are used to. Yeah. So I guess when it comes to future modes, I would say a few things that I would like to see. I think we haven't really talked about what I would like personally like to see. I feel like I want the rewards track to be a bit similar to this, which is like I don't want it to be too difficult. I don't want it to be like I have to force myself to play the game. You know, I feel like if I want to just play like casually every day and complete my quests and get all the rewards as well. I feel like this is what this mode can do, right? It's very simple to get everything. I also think like in general, like it should have some fun perks that amplifies like the fun stuff of Marvel Snap as well. Like in this case, it amplifies like allowing you to do wombo combo things. Maybe in the future it could be like I kind of did enjoy the fact that like the snaps go up to like infinite amount of bubs in the Deadpool's diner. So I feel like maybe there could be a mode whereby like your snaps do slightly different things. Like maybe there's different styles of snaps or like different kinds of like, I don't know, maybe a snap can like randomly change a location. I don't know. I'm just going.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool, right?
Yeah.
Like Hydro Bob stuff, like a snap can change a location or something like that. So I mean, these kind of things I feel like is in line with like what Marvel Snap is like popular for, and I feel like going forward, these kind of events will be a lot better than grindy events, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think they've already known that the grindy stuff is not very well received.
There are two things that I want to say they need to bring back here. The first is the general shape of the game mode and that it works on a level that people want to work in. The second, though, is the rewards track fundamentals. And I guess I'll break this down. I'll cheat on my 2 points. I'll break this one down into a couple of sub points, right? First things first. It is actually very crucial for this game that there are no stakes in it. It allows people to actually enjoy it more. Because this is only going to be here for a week, it doesn't need to have stakes. People don't need to take L's. It's actually probably fine. The worry, of course, is if the stakes are secretly a driver of people playing the mode, right? That would be the worry, where it's like, if we actually make this game mode no stakes, do people continue to want to play it? Or is it just, let's go get the rewards and get out? Second is on the rewards. I think I want more agonies and less Cassandra Novas. And I'll tell you why. Because there's always a gold option to like whale your way to the card. You could keep refreshing those quests and get the card day one. I think the worse the card is, the less I have to do that. And I would like the cards to be the kind of card that you don't feel like you're throwing if you don't have 4 days early. I don't want them to FOMO that. So more agonies, less Cassandra Novas. That's what I think that they should take away from this game mode.
Yeah, I want to add one thing to that last point of yours, which is like, I feel like, okay, at the end of the day, this card game needs to like, it needs to make a profit for the company at the end of the day, right? So I feel like the idea, I think we can end off on this, which is super cool, which is it shouldn't be pay to win, but it's okay to be paid to enjoy, right? Like if you really want to fast track your way towards the card it's probably not going to be that good, but you can
Yes.
fast track your way there if you really want to. But if it's a card that's like mandatory, it feels very more pay to win than pay to enjoy, because without the card you cannot win, no. But I'm very sure without Agony you're still going to be winning games. And also I'm very sure that if you are losing games, it's also not Agony's fault that you don't have the card. So I feel like, yeah, the direction that we really want to go for is like, just like, if you can go fast and spend gold to get stuff, but like if you don't do it, you're not at a loss. And I think that's like a very important thing to take note of.
And on that note, it's time to end. Thank you so much to everyone for watching, and of course to you specifically. Yes, you, the person watching this right now, you alone. Specifically, thank you. Lambie, take us out of here.
Thank you so much for joining us on this super high voltage episode of 8 Cubes. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.